So I'm here today in Angel, Islington to survey a dental practice or a future dental practice. Basically what we've got to do to match the client's requests is create 4 surgeries, decontamination room, a beautiful reception and waiting area, some staff facilities and a CBCT room. As you can see, the whole building, it's an extremely long building that goes back about 35 meters. So we've got a good width of around 5.5 to 6 meters, 35 meters going back, all in all about 150 meters squared. So a couple of complications that we might come across. In this instance, it was used as a bar, which means there was a lot of fluids, a lot of water, especially around the bar area. We might be looking at a bit of rotten concrete, and definitely the floor's all going to need to be stripped up, so we can't just lay over the top of the floor. Everything's going to need to come up. So the other complication that we have is the fact that this is on 2 floors, so 2 levels. The ground floor, the ground level, is not too much of an issue, but we've got a raised section at the back, which is actually concrete. So if we're going to put a disabled access bathroom on the ground floor, we need to figure out a mechanism to route the waste water back to where the main sewage waste goes. Every time we do a site survey, the building is always different, and it's really important that we make sure that we take good notes, we take good measurements. But we're also looking for things like, in this particular building, we've got cladding over all of the walls, which means the measurements we're taking today might not actually be the final measurements. So if we look at the wall here, for example, this is all clad. It's possibly going to go back another 100 mil. So it means that we can widen the corridor slightly, but to do that, we need to come in and we need to strip out everything internal. When we look at a building, we look at the main electric board, so the consumer unit. We look at the service points, so where water comes into the building, and also where waste goes out. So we've got to make sure that we've got all of those things noted down on our drawings and on our plans right from the very first site survey. When you come into the building and you start looking at all of the different elements, one of the key factors is to check the width of the building. So shop front buildings traditionally are fairly narrow, and unless we've got about 5.5 to 6 meters, it means that we can't have surgeries down one side and an appropriate disabled access corridor along the other. So anything less, it means that those surgeries are going to be pinched and slightly tighter. So designing layouts is the first step in the process. That means we come in, we do the survey, we get the measurements, and we do some illustrations to show what could be. The next step is creating the finalized layouts. So it sounds very similar to creating those initial illustrations, but it's actually a lot more technical. It means we have to come back in and take fine detail measurements of everything that's in the building. When we take those measurements and we put those back on the drawings, those will be our key points for the M&E spec. The M&E spec is the mechanical and electrical drawings. That will indicate where all of the electric switches go, lighting, and all the service points for the chairs. Initially, we create a Pinterest board, and that Pinterest board has about 100 to 200 images of different styles of practices. From there, we add more pictures, we take off pictures, and we fine-tune the customer's specific style. There are a few parts of the building that we're taking into account at this stage. One are the back rooms, actually. So we're not going to be knocking down all of the walls. We're taking out the majority of them, but we're going to be keeping these back rooms, and we're going to be opening up the centralized wall and creating this as our decontamination area. At every stage, we're looking to maximize on efficiency and make sure that we're not charging for things that don't need to be charged for. So every dental practice is different. And especially when we design them, we create them uniquely for the customer themselves. I would say this particular dental practice is a very unique building. It's got a lot of history in the road, and I think the fact that we're so central to Islington, I think that that's going to be the huge difference. Not to mention that once the practice is open, it's down to the dentist to make that impact themselves. I know that these particular dentists are incredibly passionate about what they do, and their focus on the patient journey is going to make the big difference.